We're live now.
Yep, you're live.
Oh,
3, 2, 1, go.
yeah, that's it. All right. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Jonathan Harmon with the J Harmon Home Team, powered by Keller Williams, and we are here for Table Talk. I've got two very wonderful gentlemen here sitting with me. I've got Mr. Ed Grimes of the Murfreesboro Rescue Mission. I've got Mr. Norman Hanks from Nourish Food Bank as well. And we're going to talk about a big topic that seems like it's getting bigger here
absolutely.
in Rutherford County and in Murfreesboro. We're going to get to that in a second. First, we're going to pay the bills a little bit and give props to Mr. Bryan Nale of First Horizon Mortgage. He supports the mission to help spread the positive, and we appreciate all that he does for spread the positive and for the community. So, Trent, are you ready to roll, Mr. Nale?
Sir, here we go.
Hey, my name is Bryan Nale. I'm a mortgage loan officer with First Horizon Mortgage, but I want to tell you that I absolutely love being a part of the Spread the Positive Network. Such a great mission and brings so much positivity to our community, and it's just a treat to be a part of. There are a lot of ways to navigate financing a home, and in markets like this, having the right advice of a trusted local professional is key to making sure you get the right advice for your specific circumstances. Whether you are interested in the purchase of a new home or have a need to refinance, I'd love to earn your trust. If I can help you nail your mortgage, call me at 615-243-3976, and I'd be happy to talk with you.
First Horizon member FDIC, equal housing lender, NMLS ID 472329.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Bryan. Hey, did you record the little thing?
Hey, my name is Bryan.
No.
No?
I need to look it up, but that it's just some royalty free music. That's
Uh-huh.
really awesome.
It's quite lovely. Yes.
A little-
So, Ed, one of the things we were just talking about this before we started is one of the goals that we have with Table Talk is we want to discuss topics that sometimes are uncomfortable for folks to talk about,
Yes.
right? And sometimes they're uncomfortable because we see a little bit of ourselves in them. They make us a little frightened of how things could be potentially. I've heard all kinds of little sayings about, you're one bad decision away from fill in the
One
blank,
paycheck
whatever.
away.
Yeah, whatever that catastrophe happens to be, and we want to discuss those topics, frankly, openly, and with the possibility that not everybody sitting at this table 100% agrees on all the pieces of it, right? But I think that if we can have those kinds of conversations, and somebody identifies with your perspective and somebody else identifies with your perspective and somebody else identifies with my perspective, and we can sit and learn and hear each other, right?
Exactly.
And not just shout at each other.
There you go.
Then all of a sudden, everybody can move to a little bit better understanding and move to a little bit of compassion and a little bit of less callousness.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And man, guys, we are a callous society sometimes.
I tell you what, Jonathan, years ago, when I was working in Nashville Rescue Mission, and of course, that's an incredible organization down there, working with homeless, years and years of just serving the community and helping people get off the streets. I was hired on. In fact, I worked for them 2 separate times, but I was hired back to work in education. And of course, over the course of about 4 years, we saw 80 men and women get their GED through that whole process, which was incredible for a rescue mission. But I was talking to my boss one day, and he said, "Ed, I've got to get you to look outside the perspective of education." Because I was always going to him saying, "Hey, Brother Don, we need, we got to have." And what he was trying to get me to see was that there are certain aspects of the organization that had greater needs than I had, And so that was something that I had to learn to do. And so I learned to do that. I learned to appreciate that. But I also learned this, is that we're all a slice of the pie. If you picture a pizza, we all get a slice of it, and we are slices of that big piece as a whole. And all of us bring something different. All of us have a little bit different flavor. All of us have a little bit different input, and we see people differently. We see things differently. And I'm telling you, when that all comes together, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, no doubt. And Norman, your organization, you guys see people in all kinds of different states, conditions, places in life, stations in life, whatever you want to say, or whatever you want to call it. And everything from truly homeless to holy cow, I'm in trouble, to look, I just need to get by this week.
Right.
So what are some things from your perspective? And I've got a couple of different things here. I'm going to start with this. Why are people homeless? Like, that's a big question. And I know there's a gazillion answers, but let's start with that. So when we see somebody, you know, automatically as humans, we want to understand.
We want to classify.
Yeah, that's true too.
You want to put them in a category so you know exactly how to respond and deal with that situation. Yeah, that's what we do as people.
It is, because I think that helps us to, if we put it in a taxonomy, we can say, okay, well, this person is like this, and this is why they're like this. Now I understand them, which, I mean, frankly, that's a mistake a lot of times, isn't it?
Absolutely. It can be, yeah.
So from your perspective, since you do see people at all kinds of different stages of that, you know, what are the maybe the top reasons that you see that people get in trouble, so to speak,
right?
Or find themselves in an uncomfortable spot?
Right. Well, obviously, with homelessness, mental health is always an issue, right? Not every single person that's homeless has got a mental health problem, but that's a big cause of it.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't maintain a job due to depression or anger or whatever the case might be, you can't maintain a household. You end up living with friends and family until they get tired of you, and then they put you out. And then you end up in your car if you're lucky enough to have one, or you end up on the street or a hotel that you can try to afford for a little while. Another one, gosh, mental health, job loss. I mean, truly, we really are a paycheck. Most people are truly a paycheck away from being homeless, you know, and that's horribly scary for all of us. I fear it every month, right? It's time to pay the rent.
We live a lot closer to it than we want to admit.
We
sometimes.
really do, and I think that's scary for people.
And do you think that fact that, you know, there are people that are significantly closer to being homeless, to being in trouble, whatever you want to say, do you think that makes people avoid the topic sometimes?
It does. People respond in different ways to the very fact that they could be a paycheck away from being homeless. They could be a decision away from being homeless. And some gravitate toward the fact through, hey, let me serve, let me help the next man up. Some are in denial. They want to get as far away from identifying with homelessness as they possibly can. And I'm not saying this is the case, but one of the most heart touching stories I can remember being in a McDonald's one day, and there was a man sitting there in a business suit, and this is not all businessmen, but this was just this one incident. He was sitting there nicely dressed. There was a homeless guy who just got his food, just paid for it, and I could tell he just wanted some company. He just wanted some conversation. And he looked at the guy and he said, "Do you mind if I sit here?" And he said, No, not a problem. Go ahead. And as he was saying that, he packed himself up and he left. And I thought, wow, this guy missed it. I mean, he missed it.
He wasn't looking for a seat.
He wasn't.
He was looking for a connection.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah. And so that happens so many times. And the opportunity is for us to see them as not being invisible. We won't ignore the fact that they're there. We want to not acknowledge that exists in our world, so to speak. And when I first started working with homelessness here in Murfreesboro, that was a big thing. I mean, it's like, we didn't want to admit that it really existed. And because of that, we went from 90 to over 380 per the city's homeless count within, I want to say within a 5-year period of time. But of course, and there are a lot of things fed into that, but we just don't do homelessness the way we really need to here in our community. And I'm not trying to shame my community in any way. I love Murfreesboro, but we can do a better job at it than what we're doing right now. And of course, that's taking some time, and we're in the process of getting there. Okay, and a lot of the attitudes that I encountered earlier on are now starting to change.
Well, one of the things that I feel like is a big issue, and I run into this with lots of organizations, nonprofits, whatever. I mean, Habitat for Humanity. There's a situation there where there's so much misinformation about
Yes.
what they do, right?
Yes.
And really, more importantly, what they don't do.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So we're gonna go rapid fire here a little bit. Okay. Fact or fiction? Okay. So that's
Okay.
the question.
Oh,
Fact,
I love it. I love it.
fact or fiction? And you guys feel free to expand on this if you like. Okay. Fact or fiction? Homeless people choose to be homeless.
Fiction.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'll tackle it. Fiction. Nobody was born and said, "Man, I can't wait to be homeless one day." You know, I can't wait to not know where my next meal is coming from, not know where I'm going to sleep. Man, just wander the streets, man, out in the heat and the extreme cold. Man, I'm excited about that. You know.
Yeah, they're not out camping.
Yeah,
it's not a camping
it's not
party.
a camping trip.
It's not a camping trip. Yeah.
So nobody's excited about that. So that is definitely fiction. And over the years, they sort of bears that out. People can't wait to get out of their situations, back on their feet. I hear it over and over and over again.
Fact or fiction? Many, maybe even most homeless people are addicts of some sort.
Fiction. Sorry. Yeah. I know that's a big misconception for a lot of people. You know, they're on the street because they're doing drugs, or they were doing drugs, or they got caught doing something they shouldn't have been doing.
Or they're
Yes, those people are out there, but that is not the majority of the people out there.
Exactly.
The people I see are families, single parents with multiple children, single people that have just lost their jobs, people that weren't able to get a paycheck during, the past couple of years because illnesses and sickness that was so rampant.
Job loss, alcohol is just one part of that. Drugs is just a part of that, but also, and you mentioned a while ago, mental illness is a huge part. I think 70%, the last I saw, and of that 70%, about 30% severely mentally ill. And these are people that are all in that group, and everybody has a story, and a lot of times, if we just take the time to listen, we'll find out many other people that were homeless were just like me and you. Had a job, had it going on, but something happened, or something didn't happen, and they found themselves homeless.
Yeah.
Fact or fiction? Panhandlers make big money.
Fact. I don't know how much, but I'm telling you. Well, I'll put it this way: many of them make enough to get a hotel for the weekend, get food to eat. And things like that. And there's been, unfortunately, and this is sad to say, a lot of times, and this is not every case, but scams linked to panhandlers where they've been doing, really well. In fact, better than they could make on a full-time job somewhere. Now, not every panhandler makes a lot of money. Some go out there just long enough to make what they need to make, but there are some that literally do it for a living.
All right, so this brings us to the next one. You should, and you can say this however you want. You should, you shouldn't. You should not give a panhandler money.
That's a tricky one. I mean, if you're called to
I'll
do
join
it,
you on that one.
Thank you. I mean, oh man, that's a hard one. So oh dang, you don't know someone's story. It's not your job to judge.
There you go.
If you want to help and you're able to help, and that person is sitting there and you want to give them $1, give them $1. Right? It's not your place to judge. If you're going in expressly to start judging and asking, do you really need this? Then no, don't give it to them. Give it to one of your local nonprofits.
There you go.
They can help them in the long run,
That was beautifully covered, and there's not much more to add to that. But I'll say this, and I always come at it from a God perspective. Sometimes God will just touch your heart about doing something for somebody, and when that happens, you've got to respond because God is speaking to your heart. And you're right. You don't have to know the why of how they got there, but if it's in your heart, if it's something that you feel like you've got to do, then you need to do it. I will say this. The most meaningful way to give is to give to an organization that is actively involved in trying to help get people off the streets. That's the best way.
And why is that?
Because now your money is being pooled together, and it's going to help more people than it would if it was spread out to different people, not knowing exactly where those dollars are going.
And you're handing it to trained professionals that know what they're doing.
There you go.
Well, and that brings up, I've heard statistics and numbers and whatever. If Nourish Food Bank, for example, if I was to go, if I had $100 that I wanted to spend to help a food bank, and I went to even Aldi and bought $100 worth of canned goods and brought it to Nourish, it's a box this big. But if I handed Nourish $100, they could get 3 times as big of a box of the stuff that is actually needed for your clients,
because we are out making connections with the sales people on that end of it, and we're making those community connections so that we can reach out to them when we have those finances and say, hey, we've got this, what can we do with it?
How do we maximize
and plus you got the tax exempt
and we also have the tax exempt, which
so that spreads even further.
It's $10 more we can spend.
Exactly.
Well, and I heard another perspective one time, and this was just absolutely fascinating to me. Canned food drives make you feel great, right? Like your organization has it. We raised whatever we brought in, however many 1,000 pounds of food. That's awesome. But when people compete and they do a canned food drive, what do they typically do? They typically go and they find the cheapest food that's available, right? So the canned food at Aldi, the store brands, whatever. When you take all that stuff off the shelves, you remove it to where people that could just barely scrape by and buy that food for themselves, you're taking it all off the shelves. So I thought that was a very interesting perspective that I heard. And now, I don't know how much that affects things in the grand scheme of things, but if you're in a smaller town, it could affect things a lot.
Yeah. When I lived in a very small town in rural Georgia for a little while, we had one grocery store.
I like it. Very small town.
Very small. I think it was 450 people in the town. It's small, very small.
That's very small.
One grocery store. So if you went and got all of the 99-cent green beans, they were all gone, period.
Until next week or whatever.
Until next week or the next time a truck made it through that part of the state, Truly. And talking about food drives, it's great to host food drives. We love it. We love getting that food. It's great for our clients and it's accessible and it helps us so much. But what tends to happen too with food drives is you don't focus your energy. You're out trying to get all of the things instead of getting 1 or 2 items and just collecting a ton of those 1 or 2 items.
So a bean drive might be better than a food drive?
Yes.
Or a macaroni and cheese drive might be better than a food drive?
Yes. Or a creamy peanut butter drive, which is hard to come by these days.
Really? That's interesting. I've never heard that before.
Yeah. Like right now with the food shortages that we're experiencing, it's hard to get certain items. It's hard to come up with a lot of creamy peanut butter. It's just not on the shelves like it was.
It's fascinating.
Wow.
During COVID, ramen noodles was, oh my Lord, you couldn't get more than 6 packs at a time.
Yeah.
Like 6 single packs. Well, we use those in our homeless bags, our Atlas backpacks, our 10 Care Plus boxes, which goes to the hotels where people are living homeless. Because they're easy fixes, right? You can dump it in some hot water and
calorie
it's
rich,
fill you up quickly and easily and cheap.
Right.
And, in COVID, we couldn't get them because everybody was collecting them and hoarding them, right? Because it was cheap.
Never
it was
thought
easy.
about that. Yes.
Dry goods that'll sit on your shelf for 15 years.
Indefinitely. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
All right, here you go. Fact or fiction? It is the government's responsibility to offer more assistance for homelessness.
Fiction. The government can only do so much. And, the truth of the matter is, when it comes to homelessness, when it comes to poverty, when you see a person struggling, it is on you as a good Samaritan to help that individual out. And homelessness is just another Good Samaritan project that needs the involvement of everybody. Our churches have got to get involved. Our businesses and organizations have got to get involved. Community organizations, everybody, the government, everybody needs to be involved. Now, everybody plays a different role in that, but when it comes to poverty, when it comes to homelessness, that's everybody's business. And so it doesn't just need to be the government; it needs to be the community.
So I almost completely agree with you. Almost. I'm going to disagree a little bit, though.
All right. All right.
So,
Jonathan, this is your moment. You've been waiting for
Just
this.
been waiting for a disagreement. So I truly feel the government could do more than what they're doing. I feel like that's kind of where you were headed with the question. I'm not saying they're not doing something. They're doing some. I don't know that our local government is doing as much as they possibly could. We have many organizations in Murfreesboro alone that is working with the homeless. I'm sorry, I use air quotes because not all of them actually are. But I feel like there's ways that our local government could step in and help this overarching organization, help all of the underlying organizations come together and actually get some work done.
So you see it more at their role as a clearinghouse of sorts.
A guide, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, someone to guide the party. So, like I said, there is an overarching organization that is supposed to be the oversight, I believe, for all of our non-profit organizations that work with homeless clients. This organization's been around for 20 years, I think. I could be wrong, off by 5. I'm not sure.
About 15 years.
About 15
or more. Yeah, I think H3 ARC.
Yes, HARC. Yes, and I believe their whole intention was to bring those organizations together and create something for the homeless community that was all encompassing and
Unify
all
the pizza that Ed was talking about.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
that has not happened. So it's become more of a grant oversight committee, I feel like, at this point in time. So instead of trying to make those organizations learn to work together, they're handing them money and saying, here you go, this is great. But they're not.
Which is one piece of what needs to happen.
One piece, definitely. But they're not interacting with this local governments to find ways to make that encompassing encampment, right? That one stop for our homeless clients, that way they don't have to travel all over the city trying to find the help they need and resources they need.
From what I've seen over the years, and I've been able to be involved with it a little bit, and so but I'm not a HARC official in any capacity whatsoever.
Neither am I, Ed.
Right.
Neither am I.
Okay. But what I've observed is, of course, that the HARC originally started out as the Mayor's Homeless Task Force, and then, of course, it evolved into what it is today. So there's been significant progress made in terms of bringing organizations together, communicating, sharing resources, not duplicating services and things like that, whereas we were in the past. But there are a lot of complexities when you start trying to bring multiple organizations together for the greater good. And of course, I've been a part of some of those studies. In fact, a good friend of mine, Scott Foster, who runs Journey Home, he and I flew out to San Antonio years ago to look at their model and to see how they were doing it. And they were doing, I think, a fantastic job. But even then, they had struggles, because you've got all these different 501c3s that have different missions, different goals, the task of raising funds for their organization. And when you try to start bringing all those together, it is a huge task. It's a difficult task.
It can be, yeah.
And some do it very effectively, some not so effectively. I think we're just still trying to find our way in all of that. We've started the journey, but we haven't made the destination yet.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right, so I got a couple more for you. Fact or fiction? Homeless people need to be given shelter.
Wow, that's a tough one even for me.
That is a tough one, isn't it? I would say that's one of those borderline ones there.
Can I rephrase that a little bit?
Absolutely.
And tell me if this is where you're headed. It is every human's right to have a place to stay. Is that what you're saying?
part of it.
Okay.
One of the
Okay.
solutions that I've heard is, we should build and I think there's even something like this in Nashville or something where they're trying to build a tiny home community and let's give homeless people a house to live in, or a shelter, an apartment, of whatever, right?
All right. I'll speak to that here in just a little bit. I remember back when the federal government had this 10-year initiative to solve homelessness. They announced it and they said homelessness. We're setting out to end homelessness within a 10-year period of time. And of course, 10 became 15, and 15 became 20, 20 became 30. It's been a while. Okay, and what I think they're finding out is that homelessness, poverty is something that you're always going to have. We just need to get to the place where we do a better job of working with them. But in terms of actually solving that issue. And then there's the other part of the storyline behind the 10-year initiative was this. Everybody has a right to housing. Okay. And so along with that was, it doesn't matter if they're mentally ill, addicted, or whatever. Just take them off the streets, put them in a place to stay, and give them housing. Right? And one of the things that I've learned over the course of the years, anything you put between an addict and homelessness, okay, anything you put in between there is lost. They'll consume it. If you don't have some type of recovery program, if there is not some type of process that they go through whereby they develop basic living skills, whereby they learn to cope with their addictions, whereby they learn to get the help that they need, the things that led up to them being homeless, if they still exist when you give them the housing, then all that's lost. So you've got to deal with the root cause. You've got to, you can't just pick the fruit. You got to deal with the root, So you got to deal with the root cause, and then you can begin to solve the issue for that individual.
Okay. All right. So this one, I'm not 100% sure how I want to phrase this, but I'm gonna start with what I wrote, and then we'll unpack that. Homelessness, again, fact or fiction. Homelessness should be to some extent criminalized. All right.
Oh, absolutely not.
And here's, I know.
Man, if that was the case, I wouldn't even be talking to you, man.
Stick with me for a second. All right. So here's what I mean by that. On our square, there was a big effort to remove benches to keep homeless people from sleeping on the square. Right. There's vagrancy laws. There's you can't be here kind of laws. Right. There's essentially trespassing, those kinds of things. And I don't mean like, oh, you need to go to jail because you're homeless. I mean, almost like a not in my backyard kind of move along. You can't just hang out on this corner kind of thing. Right. That's more what I'm talking about.
Well, my problem, Jonathan, has always been this. It's hard to tell somebody what they shouldn't do until you're able to tell them what they can do. So if you don't have the shelter or a place for a homeless person to go to, and of course now we're getting into my wheelhouse. But if there's no place for them to go, then where are you running them from? You're just running them from one place to the next. If they're doing something, let's say for example panhandling, you can't panhandle over here. Okay, well they're gonna move along, right? But where are they moving along to? Someplace else where they can panhandle and you're not going to notice it. If you say that you can't sleep over here or camp over here, where are they going? They're going somewhere, someplace else where you're just not going to notice them. So in order to effectively to fix it to where it's not criminal, you've got to have options for people. And that's what we like the most. We like options.
Options are important. Yeah.
Norman, what do you think? I saw an eyebrow raise.
I like what Ed said. I agree with what Ed said. I don't feel like you can criminalize homelessness. I think you have to have a solution, right? Don't put up benches with arm pockets in the middle of it so that someone can't lay across it. It's purposely showing you don't want them in that area, right? Where are they going to go? They're going to go somewhere else, like to the sidewalk in front of the business that needs to open their doors and can't because they have urine and feces now on the concrete in front of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Leave them on the bench. It's a little bit further away. It's not as messy. We can clean that up a little better. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
And Ed, you said something a minute ago when you were talking about addict and that they will consume what you put in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that lends itself to the idea, or at least, and false though it may be, you guys tell me if I'm totally wrong here, okay? That essentially it's a choice, going back to that whole like, and you made light of it, but is it possible? And again, let's go fact or fiction again. Let's revisit this.
Okay.
That homelessness is a choice that you make. Not that necessarily I wake up in the morning and decide, hey, I'm just going to be homeless today. But because I consume everything in front of me, because I don't choose to get myself clean, because I don't seek out the services.
Okay, can I just stop you?
Yes.
I'm sorry. You just hit one of those buttons for me. We're talking about addiction. Is where this is kind of leading
sometimes,
to.
And sometimes it's mental health, sometimes it's whatever, right?
Right.
Sure.
Which is where I'm headed. Addiction is a mental health issue. They do not choose to not get better. They don't have the power to make that choice. So addicts, it's been shown it is a mental health problem, crisis, that they need structured help to get past that addiction. They can't just wake up and say, oh, I'm not going to smoke pot today. Oh, I'm not going to do the cocaine today. Oh, I'm not going to touch the meth today. They wake up and their body says, oh, you're awake. Let's do this, this, and this, because if you don't, you will die, right? So are you making a choice to be homeless? No, you're not making that choice. You are making the choice to live. And unfortunately, your living looks different than what my living does. Does that make sense?
It does.
I'm lucky enough I don't wake up every day and say, I have to go and have alcohol today to survive. I have clients who don't have that choice because it's something that's been a part of their life for so long.
So then I know that the Nashville Rescue Mission and now Murfreesboro Rescue Mission participates in this. Then how does one break that cycle?
Of course, the question is very complex, and Norman hit on it as well. When you start talking about addiction, there are different categories of it, and one of the categories is the people that won't help. Then there's a category of the people that don't want the help. They need it, but they don't want it. Then there are those that live in fear, and then there are those, another category that, hey, I've got a deeper mental illness, but now I'm self-medicating through my through alcohol or drugs or whatever, and at least it's not the best thing for me, but at least it's the alternative to feeling the way I would feel if I didn't do it. And I think one of the things that really helps is when there's no how should I say, there's no greater testimony for coming out of addiction than somebody who's already beat it. And for somebody to get their life changed and turn around becomes hope and light for the other people that are out there. And so Norman, he hit the nail on the head. I mean, there are people out there who are struggling. The struggle is real. And man, for one reason or another, they don't think like you and I think. You and I think, hey, man, I'm a mess. I used not to live like this. I need to get some help.
Yeah.
No, they're making a different choice for different reasons. And sometimes it's a part of the community they have become a part of, where that's what we do on the weekends. We're just going to sit around. We're going to drink. We're going to get a hotel. We're going to get high or just whatever, but that's all that's your family, so to speak.
Sure.
And so there are a lot of that. There's it's not the surface answer is, hey, why don't they just make the right decision and do the right thing? But the deeper question is, what is holding them and locking them into that? And there are a lot of reasons for that.
So how, as somebody that quite frankly, I have no concept of that. I just don't. Right. Yeah. So how do I change my mind? How do I change my perspective? How do I change my context, maybe. I'm not sure the right word to use
Your
here.
outlook towards.
Yeah. How do I look at that situation? Because it's really easy for me to look at that person
Mhm.
and go, come on, dude, just get
Quit
some
doing
help.
that.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
get some help.
Yeah.
So, sorry. It looks like you're ready. I'll go. Okay. I don't want to cut
So
you off.
the biggest argument we're having so far is which one gets to speak first. I love this.
You know, God, that's a hard one. You've got to have empathy, right, for other people, and not everybody has empathy, and that's okay.
Right.
But when you look at a situation, go into their story. What is that person's story? I do
What
this
you were talking
all
about.
the time. You know, if I'm at the grocery, it's stupid. I cry in Kroger. Okay, I do it always in the ice cream aisle. Never fails. It's an ongoing thing. Like when I first moved back,
If
I
you
would
see
text
Norman
my
in the
boss
ice
and be
cream,
like,
hand him a tissue, okay?
I'm in Kroger, just walk the other way. But you know, I'll see somebody walking through the store, and obviously they're on something, right? And I see it, and I'm like, okay, why are they where they are? What brought them to this point?
Yeah.
What are they? You know, what caused? What moment in their life? Was it a rape? Was it the loss of a child?
That's good.
Was it
That's
the
good.
loss of a sibling?
Yes.
Was it the
parent.
loss of a job?
Yeah.
Was it something as simple as I'm going to go party tonight, and it turned into a life that they were unable to escape? Right?
Because that goes into
Yeah.
you can be addicted. We can do the exact same thing right now,
Mhm.
and I get addicted and you don't.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And you can do it 15 times and not get addicted, and I can do it once and
it's over.
the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah, exactly.
And Jonathan, I like what you were saying. You know, compassion is what makes the difference. You know, and Norman, you were hitting on it too. Being able to look at those people that we encounter every single day, and not just say, you know, why, but look deeper and say, okay, how did they get there? What happened? You know, because that's somebody's brother, sister, mom, dad, auntie, uncle, cousin. There's some, and they were probably somebody in society like we are, but all for one situation, all for a series of bad choices or whatever.
Just circumstances.
All it takes is one
Circumstances.
moment to change your entire world.
One moment.
One moment. It's always one moment in time, right?
Yes. Oh yeah.
All it
exactly.
takes. That's all it takes.
You know, and those are the things that happen. See, everybody has a story.
Mhm.
And one of the things I learned working in Nashville was that everybody's story is not the same. They may all be living in the same place, but they got there one person at a time, one story at a time.
Well, and I think we have to take a minute and acknowledge and change our mind and believe that if you're a living, breathing, existing human being, you have a value.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
You have a value. And it's so easy. It is so easy to look at that guy or that girl and be like, they're useless.
Right.
There
no
is
one
no
is
value.
useless.
And,
Everyone
and
has
that's
a reason.
That's where we go back to they have a story.
Yeah.
They have a worth. They have a value. There is a reason to help that person.
Mhm.
Yeah. I tell you, what we need is a bunch of a city full of Jonathan Harmons. Is what
Oh,
we need.
no, we don't.
I'm going to tell you why.
I'm going to respectfully disagree with that one. We're going to agree to disagree.
True story. Because Jonathan put on a big fundraiser for me, raised a lot of money. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
But Jonathan was introducing his staff, you know, and every time he would introduce somebody, he didn't just tell me who they were. He told me what they did. He told me how much he appreciated them and what they meant to the organization. He assigned value to every single person that was working within his organization. I said, wow, what if everybody did that? What if everybody saw that homeless person on the streets and assigned value to them? You know, hey, that's somebody, that's Uncle John. That's that guy looks just like my brother.
Yeah.
That could be my dad. That could be my mom. What if we assign value? I think we would change our perspective and we would look at it differently, and we would approach homelessness and poverty in a whole lot different way.
Whole lot different way.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so we're going to do this. We've got about 5 minutes left, okay? And so what I want to do is I want to spend those 5 minutes. I'm done with my my questions.
That
I've
was
never
fun.
seen him have a notepad.
Yeah, hey,
That's the most prepared I've ever seen.
The only other times that
we
I've
knew it
done
was
show
coming
prep,
in, didn't we?
yeah. The only other times
He
I've
was
done
ready.
show prep, it actually went terrible. So that one went pretty good. But I want to spend just a few minutes. Each of you tell us about your organization. Give us a little spiel, how somebody can help your organization, what you guys do within our community. Goals, things that you're working on. So, which one wants to go first?
Go ahead.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Murfreesboro Rescue Mission, Ed Grimes. We've been in operation over 10 years. One of the biggest things we're known for, of course, is we work in conjunction with 2 other organizations, actually 5 mainline organizations, and many organizations supporting. And that's the Coldest Night operation that goes on all the way from October to March, where we, on the coldest nights of the year, we take the homeless in. First Baptist Church is the men. St. Paul's Episcopal is the women. And we put them in shelter so that they don't freeze to death on the streets. Of course, we have a summertime operation where we're like right now, where we're out to passing out bottles of water to those who are on the streets and in the camp struggling. But the biggest thing about Murfreesboro Rescue Mission is this: we are seeking to bring a full-time shelter to the city of Murfreesboro.
You're not just seeking, dude. You guys are on it.
We are on it, man. We have one big announcement. We just purchased a building, one property over 405 Bridge Avenue. Yay!
Our live studio audience.
Come on. All right. By the end of this year, we're pushing very hard. We've got a $20,000 head start. We are looking to purchase the adjacent lot right beside it. We are going to place a full-time comprehensive shelter that will house both men, women, and women with children.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on the streets, if you're homeless, that'll be a landing spot, a place where you can come, not just come. That'll be a place where you can get on track, find your track to getting out of poverty and getting out of homelessness. And so we got those things coming up. One more last thing real quick. September the 16th, if you want to help us out, we have a golf tournament. If you play golf, if you got a stick and can hit a ball, come on out.
Let's go.
You can tell I don't play a whole lot of golf.
Yeah, me neither. It's ugly when I try.
I got you on that, Ed.
But September the 16th, you can go to our website and sign up. www.murfreesbororescuemission.org. You can sign up as an individual or as a team. Bring a team. The more the merrier. If you own a business, hey, be a sponsor. We need a lot of sponsors. Yay! A lot of sponsors. Okay. But yeah, come help us out. Also, if you just want to donate, you just want to give, same one, www.murfreesbororescuemission.org. There's a donate tab. Hit the donate tab. Right now we're trying to purchase property $150K by the end of this year is what we're trying for, and I believe we're going to get it, and then we'll get our property.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right, Norman.
So I'm Norman, Nourish Food Banks. We feed people that are hungry. How else do you say
Simple.
it, right?
There you go.
If you're hungry, come see us. We have 2 locations here in Rutherford County. We have one in Smyrna that's been there for 20 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
We have our newest location here in Murfreesboro over by Haynes Hardware.
Mm-hmm.
That is our distribution point. We share that building with 4 other nonprofit organizations so that it's more of a come all together instead of silos all over the county.
Mm-hmm.
Genius, by the way.
It is brilliant.
The woman that came up with that, of course,
I'll
is
still adore
one
her.
of the
Yeah.
smartest
Mhm.
people I know. We have, we're always looking for food drives. We're always looking for financial support from wherever we can find it. Our big announcements coming up. What have we got going on? We have our putt extravaganza.
You have golf that's it's a little bit more my speed, to be
Coming up.
honest.
Hey, that's my
October
speed too, man.
29th. Yeah, that's coming up October 29th. More information can be found on our website, nourishfoodbanks.org. You can reach us by phone, email, whatever you need to. We are looking for sponsors, as always. We provide Atlas backpacks to 5 Rutherford County schools.
What's Atlas?
Atlas Backpacks is a program set up in the Rutherford County school system where the school counselor identifies children who are homeless. That could be couch surfing. That could be living in a car with mom, dad, brother, sister, whatever it may be. It could be living in a hotel or straight living on
A
the
camper,
street.
whatever.
Camper, whatever they might could find. And we provide backpacks to 5 of the Rutherford County schools. We usually do about 100 backpacks a week when school is in session. And that's just enough food to hopefully get those kids through from Friday evening to Monday morning.
And so those are delivered to the school. The teacher puts it in their backpack.
We deliver them
Correct.
to the schools every week. the counselor will then take it into their locker and sneak it into their backpack so that when they leave at the end of the day, it's there and nobody
Wow,
knows
that's
it's
cool.
there.
That's cool. I love it.
Discreet.
I
As
love it.
discreet as it can
Yep.
possibly
Love it.
be.
I love that.
Love it.
It's a great program. We're glad to be a part of it. So we have that getting started back up, now that school's coming back into session. We have a delivery program that goes out to area hotels that we've identified as being homeless encampments. And we are providing around 150 boxes per month to those hotels right now. Those are people that are living there. They need to save the money, as much money as they can. And we feel like them coming to us is wasting gas money when we can get it to them, and it's food that they can easily fix in a hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
If all they have is a microwave or a hot plate, the food that we put in these boxes is enough to get them through 3 or 4 days, and we deliver weekly.
Nice.
So that they have something coming every week.
We
We also, we do a lot of things. We also partner with other organizations here in the community. We are partnering with Doors of Hope's new treatment center to make sure that they are able to feed their clients daily, 3 meals daily. We are fixing to start partnering with Renew Life Ministries. Out that way. I think it's out in the Rockville area. They work with gentlemen coming out of incarceration or drug treatment facilities to help them get back on the path. But they also provide food to those clients, 3 meals a day. So we're going to get on that train and try to help them with that. We also partner with other organizations that feed people. We work with domestic violence program, Journey Home when we can. We try to partner with them as much as possible. Indoor athletics, just everybody that feeds people, right? We're trying to help cut costs for them so they can use that money to fund other programming.
And so for both of these organizations, websites, you can donate on their particular websites, Nourish Food Banks with an S.
With an S without, you'll find it.
Yep. And Murfreesboro Rescue Mission. So you can donate, but also think about donating some time.
We love volunteers,
And I have sorted food in y'all's warehouse.
We will work you to death, but
Good
you will enjoy
gracious.
it.
Yes. Buff up, drink a protein shake or something ahead of time.
I need somebody who can install flooring.
There we go. Hey, I know some people. If you're watching this, I'm not going to call you out, but I may call you. So I know some people that do flooring. So that'd be awesome. All right, gentlemen, I appreciate you guys very much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah,
appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate the discussion. It was good for me.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have any questions and you want to chime in on any of this, please do. And one of the three of us will answer correctly or incorrectly, whatever the case may be.
We'll take a shot.
There
Maybe
you
at least
go.
an opinion.
That's it. Hey, Trent, thank you
Yeah,
for always helping to
Yes.
spread the positive.
That's right.
My man over there.
Yes, sir. Thank you all, man. That was really good. I like the new format. Feeling it.
That's good.
Homelessness.
Good.
I mean, let's go. We're gonna
Yeah.
be tackling some tough stuff, and
Good.
I'm pumped for it.
Yeah.
We got to
like-
talk about this stuff.
You're
Yes.
right.
You know, and I think that's where compassion starts, right?
Bingo.
Maybe somebody hears
Yes.
one thing that they go,
Oh man.
I didn't think about it like that.
I heard an old football
Right.
coach one time say, if we're going to be about it, we got to talk about it.
Hey.
I like it.
Yes,
That's
let's get
excellent.
it.
That's excellent. And one more thanks to Mr. Bryan Nale. If you
Thank
need a
you,
mortgage, call Bryan Nale to nail your mortgage. If you do, I'm going to throw a shameless plug. If you do need some help with your home, give me a shout. That's
Yes.
I got to throw it out there,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
yeah,
come
no,
on,
of
man.
course.
We got to pay the bills.
And we can
That's
make a
it.
podcast
Yeah.
like
All right.
this. So
That's it. Hey, thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of the week. We'll talk to you again real soon.
nice, y'all.